squarely between wild card round and divisional weekend. Jamie, Rashad, Mike G, and Kyle Manti on his way to his native homeland to call the Polynesian Bowl this weekend, which we look forward to. He will return to us next week. With that, we have to turn our attention to our NFL Network insider with us this morning, Ian Rappaport. Rap Sheet, the NFC East right now has no representation in the postseason, but that doesn't mean that they are not within our headlines this morning with some breaking news.
The biggest headline for the New York Giants and one they have been waiting for. Sources say John Harbaugh and the New York Giants are finalizing a 5-year deal for him to be the new coach of the New York Giants, a deal which reaches upwards of $20 million. Almost there, going to make him one of the highest paid coaches in the NFL. He was going to be expensive. They knew that. He was going to bring in a big staff. It was going to take a lot, and the Giants were willing. John Mara and the New York Giants, Joe Schoen, the general manager, leading this search for the number opportunity, ended up leaving the facility. It tentatively scheduled he had the Tennessee Titans schedule a flight to fly to him to talk to them. They're willing to go all into with a huge, huge package to try to get Harbaugh to be their coach. They agreed to a deal late in the afternoon, tried to keep it quiet, and ended up getting out there around 11 o'clock or so last night for some of the local guys. It is going to be official this morning. John Harbaugh going to be the next coach of the New York Giants. Todd Monken slated to be his offensive coordinator. A big win today for the Giants.
That's a big-time question that people are going to have about this young Giants offense that has a lot of talent on it. Ian Rappaport, thanks so much. We'll get back to you in a little bit. Mike Garafolo, I turn to you as well. There were 9 openings, and now there are 8. Rap Sheet just mentioned Todd Monken. What else can you tell us about the newly minted Giants head coach, and his name is John Harbaugh?
Yeah, this is unbelievable. As a matter of fact, Adam Schein, our guy who's been in the New York market for forever, he and I have been going back and forth on this just now. He's saying
What's
best.
Schein got?
Schein say it's the best day for the Giants in a decade. I said it's the best day in 5,093 days, I believe was the number. That was the that's the duration since the last time the Giants won the Super Bowl. 2012, February 5th, I believe was the date. Super Bowl 46. There was a playoff win somewhere in between there. They won a postseason game with Brian Daboll as the head coach. Given where this franchise is right now, best day since that Super Bowl for me. This isn't. Today is deal with it for Joe. One of these guys right here. Deal with it because he's taking some heat. He addressed the media recently and said, "Yeah, I made my mistake. What we planned." This is huge for him. John Harbaugh's obviously going to have a lot of say when it comes to personnel matters. But my understanding is the plan is for him to collaborate with general manager Joe Schoen moving forward. And Shane's got a reputation around the league for being one that you can collaborate with. This is just enormous for Giants fans. You talked about Elia, the Mediterranean restaurant. Opa! That's one of the sayings you could say today. Kyle, you can also say, who's got it better than Giants fans this morning?
Huge deal. There's no skeptical turn from me. The biggest media market, one of the most important franchises. And it's not just that the Giants have struggled. This always hits for me. The Giants have really struggled at home. And I think that's really important. And since 2017, the Giants have the worst home record in the entire NFL. All the teams that have struggled, no one struggled more at home, because that's when you tell the fans, come out to a Giants game. Bring your kids, bring your husband, bring your wife. I did that this year. I went and sit in the stands with my family and friends. The Giants lost to the 49ers. They almost always lose at home. So this is supposed to represent the end to that. And let's remember how we got here. Bring up the head coaches, okay? Pat Shurmur, he gets the job. You're going to see this press conference from John Harbaugh. So Pat Shurmur says, quote, we need to have a tough, gritty team that knows how to compete. Well, he was 4-12 at home, and he was fired. Next, Joe Judge, quote, we will punch you in the nose for 60 minutes. We will play every play like it has a history and a life of its own. 3-5 at home, 3-5 at home, gone. Brian Daboll comes in. A lot of heat on Brian Daboll, come from Buffalo, and Josh Allen does win a playoff game. His low point was the 2024 season. They won 1 home game. Brian Daboll, we're going to unite this building. We're going to be about the people and do everything we can to put a good product in the field. Couldn't win enough at home. Gone. And then this guy. Bring it up. Today's new guy, the superhero. There it is, the paper. It says Harbaugh. You can see it there covered. Harbaugh, handsome, strong, experienced. Guys, in his time as a head coach, He's won 102 home games. 102. Will he be able to do it with Jackson Dart? He won those 102 games with 2 separate franchise quarterbacks and 2 very, very different franchise quarterbacks. Flacco, Lamar, Dart. He's a winner. He's proven. He's a brand. He's a leader. He's everything that all of these other Giants coaches have tried to be. And when the fans come out and they fill the stadium and they cheer and here's the introductions, he knows how to actually win. When they show up happy, he can actually make them leave happy. And I think Giants fans should be happy. Even me, like an on-record skeptic, I have nothing today. It's a huge success for the Giants.
And Jay, you see that excitement that they have over there being in New York?
Like it's in the air.
Kyle, they get it. You understand it. It's a lot to be excited for if you are a Giants fan. You're bringing in Harbaugh. He, in 18 seasons, he won 12 games. 12 playoff appearances, a Super Bowl. He understands how to put together a roster. They have the 5th overall pick over there in New York. When you look at the offensive side of the ball and you think about Malik Neighbors coming back, you think about Andrew Thomas, one of the best left tackles, coming back. You think about Cam Scatterboo coming back. You got Robinson coming back. You got Theo Johnson playing the tight end position, which he is awesome. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they are built to last. They're stout over there on the defensive side of the ball. And so when you bring in over a John Harbaugh, somebody that gets you truly excited, and New York has been chasing a ghost of Tom Coughlin ever since he left. And I actually, took the liberty when I heard the news. I called Coach Coughlin this morning. I wanted to see what he had to say. And you know what he told me? He told me the classic Coach Coughlin. He said, I want to wait until it's official, and I will share with you my thoughts, Rashad. So hopefully I'm going to have something to say. But again, what he says is always special to me. Before he left the franchise, he said, ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to know that expectations never change, just faces. And I think we're bringing in a new face to carry on the tradition of what the Giants stand for.
So we're waiting for the ink to dry, and then we're going to get him back on the phone, okay?
Absolutely.
Maybe it'll happen on GMFB. Right. Mike Garafolo, you have more to add to this very thrilling development.
I do, because Rashad just said something. You see how excited they are in New York. Let's be crystal clear. I don't care in the sense that I am a fan of the team. I'm not a fan of anybody. I grew up an Eagles fan. I can't be anymore. It's impossible. I've got this job to do. It's just so hard. However, I live in this market. I work in this market. I've been extremely frustrated that the 2 franchises that are in this market, we get to Halloween and they haven't been relevant for the better part of a decade, even back to that 15-year mark that I'm talking about. Kyle, MetLife Stadium opened in what year? 2015.
Okay.
How many postseason games have been played at MetLife Stadium involving the teams that play there?
0.
1.
1? What was it?
1. It was the Giants-Falcons game on the way to that Super Bowl that I'm talking about. The Falcons could have played 8 quarters that day. They weren't going to score a touchdown on that defense that day. The other game was the Super Bowl that didn't involve the Giants.
Oh, the Seahawks-Broncos.
Yes. So we've got 2 postseason. I would like some relevancy in the New York market. And John Harbaugh agreeing to a 5-year deal eventually here this morning and finalizing it bring some relevancy. And winning football is going to follow him.
Yes.
That's going to happen. You know that. Are they going to win the Super Bowl with John Harbaugh? I have no idea.
To that point.
Back on the map. We've got some juice. We've got some energy. For us to be here in the shadows of it, I can feel it.
I always look through it in the lens of since Good Morning Football started in the 2016 season. And the Giants postseason, all right, so they beat Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. That was great. Don't take anything away. The boat picture, Odell going to Green Bay. Odell drops everything, kicks a hole through the wall. Like, that was years ago, and that was their postseason. I do have to say, the skeptic finally came out, and there's 31 other fan bases. They're saying, okay, so the Giants hired the guy who usually loses in the playoffs. Like, is there a Super Bowl coming? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the Giants are going to the Super Bowl. You got to understand where we're coming from. The Giants are going to matter. The Giants are going to have a professional product. The Giants are going to be in games late in the season. That's a huge, huge leap. One giant leap for giant kind. I'm not saying they're going to start having parades yet, although they might. It's just that they matter, Mike, and they haven't. And that's a big deal.
And culturally, what is required in that market as well is to be able to handle your business. And that man's done so in Baltimore for a very long time, and now he just takes that. Going through those faces of the men who were in charge of the Giants in the past, it just hits different when you know that guy's going to be standing at the podium. As I mentioned, Ian Rappaport, to finish the last thought that you had, There were 9 openings, now there were 8. I am a glutton for hiring news at this point. What it would be the next thing to happen for us if we were to just, I don't know, have some conjecture about it?
You'll talk about the playoffs eventually, I promise. Let's keep talking about the hiring. You guys mentioned the Giants' John Harbaugh hiring no doubt brings some credibility back to New York, the kind of hire where everyone hurries up their process and says, you know what, we got to make sure we follow all the rules, we do everything we need to do, so we are poised to make a move. That's where the Giants were. That's why the Giants, they fulfilled the requirements by the NFL. They were able to hire Harbaugh. The Tennessee Titans did the same thing for the possibility of hiring Harbaugh. Remember, they were supposed to visit with him this morning until the deal got out last night. So what this means is that the Tennessee Titans essentially go back to their process. They are going to interview a couple coaches later in the week. They got Robert Saleh. They got Mike McCarthy, the former Cowboys coach, the former Packers coach. They're going to bring in finalists next week and really just continue along with the process as it should be. It certainly seems to me right now like Harbaugh is the outlier. Hire him, do that deal, do the whole thing now, do it fast, because that's how quickly you had to strike. Everyone else will kind of go about the other 8 openings, and the Steelers are obviously just getting started with a little bit of a late start here this week. But everyone else will kind of go through the process, bring in finalists next week, and try to hire next week and probably into the following week before the Super Bowl. This was the only one, it seems, where there'd be a big flurry to make this happen.
All right, Rap Sheet, thank you so much. Rap Sheet, real quick, before I let you go, you mentioned the Todd Monken news at the end of your last report. What about Zach Orr? What's the defense for the Giants going to look like with John Harbaugh as the boss?
I've not heard Zach Orr as definitively as Todd Monken. Now, Monken is still, by the way, interviewing for offensive coordinator job, talk to the Bucs. But essentially, my understanding is it's likely that he'd join Harbaugh. With Zach Orr, it was not considered as likely. Possible. He's interviewing for some other jobs as well, interviewing for the Cowboys defensive coordinator job. It just hadn't been described to me as a sure thing like it had for the Monken situation.
All right, thanks, Ian. Talk to you in a little bit. Mike Garafolo, the sound yesterday from Steve Bisciotti rings in all of our ears when he was informed of Mike Tomlin's release from his job. Well, when he agreed to step away from the Steelers. I want to make sure I get that language correct. But Bisciotti made a joke that, well, Harbaugh could go to Pittsburgh if we get Tomlin. This is not happening. Instead, Harbaugh takes 95 North. He ends up in New Jersey. Now, as Rashad bumps his fist, what do the Steelers do now? As we mentioned, they are one of 8 dominoes left.
Steelers are underway. I may miss a couple here. Nate Scheelhaase, Chris Shula, Scheelhaase and Shula both with the Rams. We saw a Brian Flores request as well. We saw Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter is scalding hot, the defensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Chargers. So the Steelers going about this the way that we thought they might, which is skewing toward the younger assistants, guys that could be there for quite some time, and guys that would be in the mold of Mike Tomlin. Maybe, you know, I don't know, the average fan has heard the name Nate Scheelhaase, but now you're going to hear it extensively. We talked about him as a scalding hot offensive coordinator candidate. Well, now he is slipping into scalding hot head coaching candidate as well. So we're seeing a lot of moving parts in Pittsburgh. They're going to take a while to settle because they've got to go through the process. They've got to go through the Rooney Rule, which was named for the Roonies out there in Pittsburgh. So they've got to go through the process, but they're not panicking. They know it's going to be a multi-week process for them. Again, expect them to skew towards the younger assistant coaches here as they go through their search.
Enough with the Giants and Steelers. Announce the Cardinals hire. Where are we with the Cardinals? Come on. Cardinals fans want their New York media market. Pittsburgh, give me the Cardinals hire, and I'll take the Titans while you're at it.
Kyle, Mike G, Rashad, Ian, thank you very much. Good job, everybody. You know what's really entertaining about the Steelers hire? If you put on a graphic all the faces that